on a Tuesday, prior to Thanksgiving. Okay.
Is that why the crowd's so?
I think it's why the crowd is not its usual thick of adorning people. They're all out there getting busy for Thanksgiving. Well, anyway, we will persevere on. So there is no privilege of the floor. Oh, wait a minute. Here comes Pat. Well, let's go to the approval of the minutes of the meeting of November 13th, and then I will back up and do privilege of the floor.
Okay.
All right? So we have the, Mike, that was you and I.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to read them yet.
I did read them, and I have no corrections to them.
I will,
I already corrected Margaret's not being present, so that's done. Thank you.
There was another thing.
But I
was
do
just
want to,
a
under
grammatical.
privilege of the floor too, I just want to, we should talk about today that the letter from Wendy regarding ice time availability and whether we have an update on that.
Yes, I do.
All right,
I do
well,
have an update. Do you want it?
Yeah, why not? We got it now.
I contacted John Fontes.
Yeah.
The manager emailed me, apologized, and said that he would work with the school and make sure that they get their time. So Fred Gendron, John Fontes both know about it. They agree with what the agreement says,
Okay,
and they will make sure that the school gets the
so
time.
they actually did try to curtail their time or something.
They had moved time around because of practices with the hockey teams.
Gotcha.
So they will make sure that the school has the
Okay,
time.
good.
And I will let you know if that changes.
All right, that's fine. Okay, so it's resolved.
Yes.
And has anybody gotten back to Wendy or?
I have not gotten back to Wendy. I've been talking to Gail. So I don't know if the PTO has.
Well, if I
been
see
involved.
Wendy, I'll, if either of us see
Yeah.
Wendy walking around,
Yeah.
just mention to her that
Okay.
we appreciate her input, and
Mhm.
it is our understanding that they've,
Right.
that they've restored
Mike
whatever is the
Fergal
normal
was
schedule.
involved and Gail was involved. so
Okay,
No
good.
one's contacted me back.
So I'm gonna make a motion then to approve the minutes of the meeting of November 13th. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
All right.
All right, okay. So I'm gonna back up, privilege of the floor. Pat, do you have something you would like to share with us?
I do. I
Okay.
failed miserably in getting support for limiting the use of leaf blowers.
Oh,
It
failed
seemed
with who?
finding people who agreed with me
Oh,
that they should be limited. So I'm here to tell you that I failed.
Well,
Now
I don't want
have
to say
to
you
live
I haven't
failed.
seen you
Blowers.
failed. I mean, we are going to discuss, and we could certainly do it now, the noise ordinance. And the noise
Let me see
ordinance,
if Chris and Dave are.
okay,
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of stuff due to you opening our eyes to, and ears to this.
right. And
Well, that's good. I'm
the
glad.
noise ordinance is, it clearly states that it clearly states, it implies there is to be no noise on a Sunday, first of all.
Right.
I mean, Sunday is supposed to be quiet day the way it's written today. It's after 9, and I believe they do go in and define what is an obnoxious noise. And a leaf blower would certainly make the
Yeah,
list.
the definition is other forms of construction activity that creates a disturbing noise.
Right. So the noise ordinance clearly would not allow it. And I think that the concept that disturbance would, I'm assuming would be what? Disturbing other people's property?
If anyone
I don't know.
notices it, I consider it a disturbance.
Okay, so even
They're
though
on the
within a condo, yeah, right. The question is, what do we do, what are we gonna do? Like,
Well, the officer that was called and said he couldn't do anything has been told that he can do something. I mean, I think Dave's memo is
Okay,
pretty clear that we can, under the existing noise ordinance, take action to limit that, I think.
and that action would be to, look at this, he's got the sporting and.
Another few days.
But he's back, or you
Wow.
remember Montana yesterday, weren't you?
Oh, he went out to Montana. Oh, he had to look like a guy from Montana. All right.
So, as Dave says, we can limit it if under the existing noise ordinance. As he says, maybe we can remove the word construction from the noise ordinance just so that it's equipment that causes problems instead of construction equipment.
It says other forms of construction activity.
Right, or
But-
other just
Yeah,
make it
the
other
word
activity, take out
activity.
the word construction.
You don't even, I don't think you
But I
need
don't
to
even know
change
that
it.
you need to.
No, I think it's fine.
I mean, a leaf blower is not really construction
So we
equipment,
will,
but it's maintenance equipment.
let all the police officers know to the effect that kind of a squirrel motor noise is probably objectionable and,
Yeah.
now,
But
yeah, go ahead.
is it objectionable immediately, or is it objectionable, like in Pat's case, where it was an entire day? Is there a time, how do we enforce
Well-
this? Is it gonna be completely banned, or is
The
this,
times are in there.
Yeah,
well, but the times are all day. When you look at the times that are in the noise ordinance,
right.
it's basically though, still the entire day.
Of Sunday.
Well, it's not allowed Sunday.
Nothing on Saturday.
So,
No,
Sunday could be
Saturday it's
quiet.
allowed after
So,
9 o'clock.
After 9 and nothing on Sunday.
nothing on
I
Sunday
think,
and holidays.
Yeah.
Now, I don't wanna play the you know, the devil's got, but in
Right.
today's day and age.
Right.
I question, having a noise ordinance that says you're not allowed to make noise on Sunday. Now, I don't have a problem with, you know, objectionably loud noises, but the ban noise on Sunday, what's,
well, we're
Today's day
banning,
and age,
we're
what's the
banning
purpose of
construction activity on Sunday.
Right.
but why Sunday?
That's the way it was.
Well,
No,
suppose
it's
you're a
Sunday
Jewish
and
contractor. I
holidays.
mean, I
No,
don't-
it's Sunday and holidays.
Well, if
Yeah.
you're a Jewish contractor, when do you work?
Well, it depends on time and a half you're gonna give up for a little bit. God's everywhere.
Well, no, that's
I
a
don't-
good question. I don't.
I don't know
I'm-
anymore, that's the
But
problem.
What's the history of the guideline?
It's the resort community in that we have visitors on holidays,
Right.
Saturdays,
No,
Sundays.
Saturday,
I can
Sundays.
understand you don't want that, but it's.
Well, no, it does say, Mike, no construction activity that produces an unreasonable amount of noise.
Right,
So,
Hmm.
and no construction activity that produces an unreasonable amount of noise which may be heard from adjacent and/or public properties is permitted at any time on Sunday and federal holidays.
right.
So you can
And it's
still
permitted
work,
after 9 o'clock on Saturday.
9 AM on
To 7 to
Saturdays
7.
till no later than 7.
Right.
Now, that would take care of your situation because it was Sunday, right, Pat?
Right.
Okay. So the rest of the week, they could run the leaf blowers within those time frames.
Right, I
And
think,
their answer is if they want to work on Sunday, the law does not prohibit anybody from working on Sunday.
Right.
but they can't
But
make a noise. in the
They would
church.
have to come up with a solution that's not quite as noisy.
Which may not be heard from adjacent and/or public properties.
And what is an adjacent property to a condominium? Is it heard outside the bounds of the condominium, or is it within the bounds of the condominium?
Well, I would say outside the
Adjacent
bounds.
to the noise, not to the,
It's adjacent to the noise.
that's
Right.
what I would think.
Yeah.
Okay,
Village, you couldn't work around one building if another building
Correct,
was.
or, yeah, adjacent, I think adjacent is just like Margaret says, it pertains, if you can hear the noise,
Yeah.
you're adjacent to it.
okay.
And, you know, we have always gone on the fact that people could work unless we got a complaint,
Right.
right? I mean, we
Well,
don't,
Well,
we
at
don't
a certain-
actively go out
Right.
and drive around and
No.
say,
Right,
stop.
once we get a complaint though.
Right.
it's not-
Then
Yeah.
we have gone. Is that okay?
I think it has, I think it's
What else
reasonable.
you do, yeah.
It's reasonable and it's traditional, so I don't think we're ability for the police officers, if someone complains, for them to come in and ask
Right.
someone to
Right.
not work because of our rules.
And we also have a process in place that somebody who absolutely has to work can come in and ask
Yeah,
for a
right,
dispensation,
yes.
which we've
Right.
done for
Yes.
parties
Which
and
we've
other things, so.
Well, that's the thing, is that clear to an that an individual can come in and request a variance?
Well, an
waiver?
exception for good cause to 1 and 2 may be granted by the selectman or their
Oh,
agent
okay, so
on
it is written.
application.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's in the ordinance.
All right. Yeah. Well, I would suggest we don't have to do anything other than inform the police, right?
Right.
Is that okay?
it's fine, because I couldn't get people to give up their leaf blowers. They wanted them, and they,
Are these people who have their own leaf blowers, or just people who?
that, and the other comment was, it's hard enough to find people to work on the properties. If you start taking away their toys, then they won't work for us, and those kinds of things, so. I said, okey dokey, I got 3 people to sign my little thing saying, you know, let's limit the noise. And that was Ray, me, and Donna.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Somebody else, okay.
So
We'll do-
I give up, and
we'll do what we
I'm
can.
just here to tell you, you know,
Okay.
thank you for even
Well,
listening to me.
let's at least, you know, if someone complains, you gotta go tell them to try to keep it down. And I don't know, if it gets to be where, you know, a number of people are complaining, maybe we'll have to talk to the contractors and ask them, can't they go out and find leaf blowers that have got mufflers on them? I mean, you're not allowed to run a car like that, right? Right. Okay.
And while Chris is here, do you have any questions about the dog issue?
No, I mean, I think your response is the state law already covers the
Yes.
fact that that if your dog is a nuisance to someone else, you have a right to fine them under the state law.
And it'd be interesting as to what the particular complaint was, like if this person knows whose dog is responsible, then we can go enforce it. But if they're out for a walk and they see dog crap on the sidewalks,
Yeah.
if we don't know where it came from, there isn't anything we can do.
No, right. But there's no need to pass our own ordinance. We already
'Cause it's
have.
covered.
It's already covered.
Yeah.
And another, I mean, in this environment, it's awfully tough to enforce that, that's another one that's pretty
Well,
tough to enforce.
I also have to say, since I walk most of the sidewalks and that kind of thing, that people who live here full-time do what they're supposed to be
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
It's usually our visitors on the
Yeah.
weekend that all of a sudden you come across a little surprise on the
Yeah.
sidewalk, you
And
know?
we've never gotten any complaints. I
Yeah.
mean, the complaints we get are very broad, like, oh, we should have an ordinance for this. It's like, well, we do.
Yeah,
No pun intended.
okay.
Not DPW.
That's why I was asking Mark where this guy was from, because that area along the sidewalk
Yeah.
near the inns is a favorite place for dogs to go. It's kind of unkempt,
Yeah.
you know, and that kind of thing where, you know, so that if there are a lot of piles of leaves and that kind of thing, stuff disappears, and
Mhm.
so.
Okay. Department head updates, you have any?
Well, just Rachel's, one thing, Chris, I'll come up and get you when we talk about the legal issue, even
All right.
give him an update.
All right.
Okay. Rachel's, information is in there for the month of December in your packet.
Okay,
We have a pretty full calendar of, adult programming. Pickleball is taking over the world.
Yeah,
I've
I've heard rumors of a warrant article for a pickleball pavilion.
There may be, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. It is the rage. So, any comments on those? And then the special events for the Christmas holiday week are in there. Our usual candy cottages, extended programming is all pretty much what we have done for the transient guests for the week.
okay.
And then our evening
No, I'm
items, are you all good with that?
fine with me.
Okay.
Has she had any success in finding a,
We have not,
An
she has
adult
filled, no, not the adult coordinator position, we have filled the, general programming
okay,
positions with, a couple of students from down down at PSU,
All right,
but she has not gotten anybody
Okay.
yet.
all right. Any other department head updates?
No, I just, the project from hell is continuing.
You're
and
gonna,
we'll talk about
we'll cover
in a
that
minute.
when we get down there. Okay.
I know it's or bad.
Calendar, reviews, or,
The only thing that I had was Customer Appreciation Day is coming up.
all right,
Also, I got that later in, our next meeting is the 11th, and the week after that, the 17th, 18th, and 19th are our 3 scheduled days for the budget reviews with the department heads.
ooh, now I am not here on the 17th.
Okay, well, we can do 16th and 18th, if you.
If we can do 16th, I have to go down to Philadelphia.
Okay,
So I will, so I need to leave on the 16th to go down. Is it possible to do the morning of the?
I mean.
Let's see what it- yeah.
It's
Is
up
it,
to you.
Margaret?
It's up to you.
All right,
The morning of the 16th and then the
Right.
18th is okay?
yes, the 18th is fine, I'll be back on the 17th. Okay,
What time on the,
16th, we start at 9 AM.
9, that's okay.
The other days, what time do we
What
want
day
to
is the
start?
16th?
16th is a
The 16th is
Monday?
Monday.
Oh,
No good?
Oh, you have your staff meeting, don't you, on the mornings?
All right.
9?
We do the 18th and 19th. How many hours do we want to take each day?
Well, I think the 18th and 19th would be okay.
Mhm.
Afternoon, both of those days, are those okay?
Yeah, but could we get through everything on the, if he can't
I
make the
think so, the
16th?
18th and 19th would
Okay.
be fine. And then we can, if we have any to
Okay.
clean up, we could clean up the following Monday.
Got
or
it.
something.
starting when?
18th and 19th. Starting at 3,
You want to start
A
at 3 or do you want to start at 2?
fine, department heads are here.
Does that work, Mike?
yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. All right. All right, under new business, recommendation regarding the repair of the utility pickup.
Yep, we have a quote from Thornton Collision. Basically, the pickup is rusting out.
How old is that
Mechanic-
car?
The pickup is a 2005, 2004, so it's closing in on its useful life. We have, it is mechanically very sound. We've not had any major mechanical repairs that we've had to do on it.
Mhm.
They have given us this quote for $8,000, which basically makes the vehicle look like a brand-new vehicle. They'll put a new bed in it, they'll fix all the fenders. Basically, right now, it cannot pass inspection because it has holes. in it.
Okay,
So we have to fix those. We have to
All right.
fix them anyway, because we're not due to replace that vehicle until 2016.
okay,
So I would recommend to the board that we use our contingency amounts, which we have hardly touched. If you look at your financial report, I think we've spent $7,000.
and you're gonna go ahead and get that repaired before
And
year
we'll
end?
get it repaired before year. We spent 7,600 out of the 50,000 contingency this year.
Okay.
So we have enough money. We're, department heads, budget-wise, we're okay in each of the departments. We've got a couple of small items like the legal line and stuff where we're a little bit over, but in line of the budget total for the town. Department heads are preparing their year-end closeout with any big-ticket items that they have left for the month of December, but nothing unexpected in any of the departments. So I don't see us having to use contingency to cover a department overage.
Right.
So I would recommend that we do this, and it will allow us to move, we're looking at extending the life of the truck for another 5 years, which means we can move it in the capital program another 2 years back. So,
Mike?
Did we get any competing bids?
no, we did not, because Thornton Collision, is where we usually take.
Well, the
all
only
of our
reason I'm
vehicles.
asking is because my Ford was rusting out around the wheel wells.
Mhm.
And so I had to go in and get that job done. I went to 2 different collision places, and it turns out that the Ford dealer out on Tenny Mountain Highway
Mhm.
was the least expensive, and they did a great job. And I
Okay.
noticed this vehicle was a Ford.
It is.
So,
Okay.
just a question, you know.
Okay, we'll
I
check.
know that it looked to me on the estimate that the majority of it was for the bed,
It is.
replacing the bed.
It is.
And, that was like half of the
I think
estimate.
Margaret's suggestion is a good one,
Yeah.
also in the context, you never know whether they
Yeah.
have a recall. You know, a lot of those trucks, I thought, had 10-year warranties for rust.
Mm,
Well, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
about that part, but I just know those guys out there did a great job, and it was body work,
Okay.
and it's a Ford, so,
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's funny, I didn't balk at it because Thornton, I had some bodywork price and I priced everyone around.
Yeah.
And Thornton Collision was the cheapest.
Yeah,
I didn't
and
even
Thornton
think
is,
to go to
I've
Thornton.
used, I mean, I have no problem with
Yeah.
Thornton, I've used them, they're
Okay,
fine.
so if I could, if I get another quote and it's less than the 8,000, I'll go there, but as long as we don't exceed the 8,000, can we do
Yeah.
that?
yeah.
Sure.
All right.
So do you need a motion?
No, I don't think so, I mean,
Authorizes-
it's,
okay.
unless you feel we do, there's nothing.
Well, I think it makes sense to
required.
repair the truck and
Right.
try to max out. If mechanically it's in good
mechanically
shape,
it's
then
in
we
good
ought to try to extend its life as best we can.
Okay,
Okay, the flexible spending account charges under ACA?
yeah. Basically, the ACA changed the flexible benefits programs, the health spending accounts and things like that.
Does
I gave
anybody
you the
use
background.
the health spending
Yeah,
accounts?
we have
Okay.
5 or 6 that
People
use
that
it.
do use it,
Mhm.
okay?
So what I would recommend to the board is that the board move from a 2.5-month extension, which is what we currently give employees, to a rollover of $500. And basically what that's gonna do, so the plan year runs July 1 to June 30. Right now, any amount of money that's still in an account on July 1, the employee has 2.5 months, the middle of September, to spend it. So if you have $900, you can spend it in that 2.5-month period and you're good. And a new plan year is starting on July 1, okay? So what I would recommend is that instead of doing that rollover for any amount, that we limit it to $500 and we roll it over so that each year you can roll over up to $500.
But it's for the entire year.
And it's for the entire year.
Yeah. And the reason for this change, do we have to make this change, or is
You,
this a
you
recommendation?
don't have to make it, you don't have to,
Oh.
but the ACA changed the law about health savings accounts.
They
to
allow us
allow
to do this.
To do this. And it's basically an extension from the
Right.
2.5 months to a full year.
How much are people generally putting away in their HSA?
There are a couple that are doing 1,000, there are a couple that are doing 500.
So
Hey,
the
you know,
500 is
it's
pretty
small.
generous.
A
So
year.
500 is a
Some of them.
goodly amount.
Oh, yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think this year we had $84 left or something like that out of
Okay.
everybody.
Okay.
And
So-
what happens, I remember the old rule, who gets the money if it,
It's up to you. I
It
think we
goes back to
voted
us?
to have it, you can either take the entire amount and equally distribute it to everybody who participates.
Right.
Or the town can keep it and use it for administrative costs for the next year.
Okay.
So, and that's something you can decide each year, or you can have a standing policy and just
Okay.
do
It
whatever.
sounds like the $500 gives people a lot more
Oh,
flexibility.
a lot more
It doesn't have
flexibility.
them rush
You have a
off to
problem
the
with that?
dentist for
Exactly.
2.5 months after.
You need a
Exactly.
motion to this?
Yes, I
All
would
right,
need a
I'm gonna
motion.
move that we change our flexible spending account to conform to the ACA recommendations and allow employees to roll over $500 per year in spending accounts.
Very good.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, there we go. We've already talked about dog waste. The holiday lights competition, Pat, don't leave. My
So-
understanding is the last year's holiday lights
Coordinator,
coordinator has retired.
she has.
And we're trying to find out, is there anybody who wants to be the
Yeah, I mean, we have been historically conducting the holiday light competition. So people were really pressed to get their
Right.
lights up and everything else. So that obviously is not happening this year. So I put in here that perhaps if the board wanted to do it, you could do your judging on the 10th of December, and we could announce the winners at your board meeting on the 11th.
Is
But
the
it's up to you.
Resort Association sponsoring this event or doing something? with
Not
respect-
really, it's kind of fizzled. Jan had been doing it for so long, she was just tired of it. It used to be a big event, people would come out that night and
Yeah.
you'd drive
When's the
around.
town appreciation day?
The 5th.
Fifth.
The 5th of December.
That's usually
Is
the
it
same
custom?
day that they would do.
Yeah,
Right.
the judging would go on that night and the judges,
Yeah.
and the judges would insist on drinking significant amounts.
I
If you want to,
personally,
that's
No,
fine.
no, they go on the bus and.
Oh,
I mean, I can't think of a worse way to spend a night than driving around looking at Christmas tree lights.
Oh my
But-
goodness.
I could think of, I apologize, there are worse things than that, but it's not high on my list.
Yeah, it's, put it this way.
You wanna do it?
If,
I mean, I'll do it
if you'll do it, I'll do it.
Margaret.
Well,
And
But I think we can also take our time and, we don't have to do this in one night, go out in a fell swoop. We could.
no, you can
get
look
together.
around, but I think you should have like unofficial night that you take a few minutes and drive around. I mean, it's dark by 4:30,
Do we know who enters, or?
Well,
is
no, what we're gonna have to do is get people to work out some kind of entry.
well, that's why I
Thing
was
off the
asking,
website.
how many people actually signed up for this? I had the
It-
idea that there weren't that many
Yeah,
that
it
signed
got
up.
less and less, but the lodges and businesses tend to take it very seriously.
Yeah,
They want the
and
trophy.
it got less and less because they were doing it so early. Everything
Yeah.
had to be in place by the Thanksgiving weekend and nobody, I mean, I remember us last year, we're sitting here trying to pull out the Christmas lights before we went
Went
on
out
Thanksgiving break.
vacation,
So it was very early and I think that had a lot to do with it. Plus that makes all the,
And what was the
Evergreen
reason they used to
rust.
do it early?
because they
I know it
wanted to
drove
be
my
ready,
wife
they wanted to
They
be
did it
ready
on
by this
Customer
customer
Appreciation
appreciation
Day.
day, so they needed everything up.
So it was like the evening of Customer Appreciation
gotcha.
Day, they had something at,
Yeah.
you know,
It's up at Legend.
yeah,
That Legend's,
whatever
Diamond's
the place
Edge.
was called
That way.
upstairs. Then.
The lantern.
So whatever
Okay,
you would
so
like
we're
to
gonna
do.
do it.
Oh,
On the
okay.
11th?
just let me know.
Well, the 10th, you'll drive around, and the 11th at the board meeting,
Okay.
we'll announce the winners and
All right.
hopefully have them
The
here.
10th, what
So
time?
Tom, we're communicating.
I guess we have to do this about 6 o'clock,
Well,
5-ish, it's dark.
5?
we have to go together. No, we can't. We can't go together. They're-
We don't want to go to a legal meeting.
No, I'll post it, I'll post it. Don't worry about that, we got that covered.
Well, we would have to
Margaret.
take the recreation bus so people can
Yes,
observe.
we'll take the rec bus and we'll drive
Another
around,
email.
okay, on the 10th.
Is there actually
Santa's sleigh.
criteria, or is it like whatever other?
I will
Who's
find
driving
out
the
from
red
Jan
bus?
if there was a
That's what you're
evaluation form, and I'll share that with you. Okay?
So we're going to put out a communication that requests participating parties be ready to be judged at 5 p.m. on the 10th.
5 p.m. on the 10th.
Yes, and if they could respond to us so that we have a list of
And-
who to go to,
And
that would be good.
notify that they ought to treat the selectmen kindly or we'll never do this again.
And the winners will be announced at the
At the
selectmen meeting on
selectmen's
the
meeting
11th.
on the 11th.
Got it, thank
Do
you.
you want punching?
Ooh, that would be
No.
good.
No.
I think that would influence our decision.
Cider, you want cider? Hey, I'm
Right.
all for it.
All right,
Hot
Little
toddies.
eggnog?
yeah, that should be, okay.
All right, good.
Now we've got, water sewer project update.
Yeah, this is not something that we absolutely have to do, but we have the basically $482,000, which are made up of the two different parts, the town match for the grant, which is 219, and the 262 in ineligible expenses, which is the walkways and the bridge crossing and
Right.
things like that. So we have these two amounts that we have spent. We are carrying them in our bond anticipation notes. At some point, we're gonna have to convert those bond anticipation notes into bonds.
Okay,
So we can do that. I can go to banks now and I can ask for bids and have you review the bids at the December 11th meeting, at the first meeting in January, whenever you want to do it.
How much are you talking about for bonding?
482,000.
Okay.
But now, we could also break that into two parts, because if there are any other ineligible costs, we could add them to the 262. We could wait on the 262. The 219,000, we know we are gonna have to bond. That's a done deal. That money is already expended.
the 219,000 was
Yeah.
the extra work on the, associated with the
The
bridge.
219 is our town match for the grant.
So, okay, so this amount of money was always
It
anticipated.
was always anticipated.
Being
Absolutely.
spent, was
Yeah.
219.
That's correct.
And the
Okay.
262 is the walkway.
Is the walkway, the bridge crossing, the work on Birchbrook Lane that wasn't part of the project, the changes that we made in the road, paving, all of
Right.
those things total up to 262. Now,
Does it
Go ahead.
make sense to bond now versus,
I think rates are as low,
Yes,
I
I
mean,
think
rates
rates are
are
gonna
only
go up.
gonna go up. So I think bonding now, we're gonna get the best deal that we can.
How much beyond this amount, you say there's, might we have to come up with beyond this amount?
Beyond the 262.
No, beyond the four, the two of them combined. If we
Oh, the two of
bonded the
them-
whole thing now.
Yeah.
And what's,
Well, rural development has approved moving, the only other ineligible cost that I see in the project, ineligible,
right,
is the moving of the pump house away from the river at pump house number 2. And the combination and treatment of that was not part of the original
that's
project.
correct, right.
Okay, so we are,
And to date, we still have not gotten approval for that.
rural development has asked the engineers to cost out 3 different options.
Okay.
Staying with the original plan, doing a combined treatment plant at the existing Well House 2 building, or moving it to the other location.
Okay.
And they're in the process of doing that now.
All right,
Rural development, when they were here a couple of weeks ago, they were pretty favorable about us moving it, but they needed to see what the cost differential is.
okay,
So the additional money, Bill, that we could spend would be if we went beyond the total project cost of $3,733,000, we would have to cover any difference if we moved the building and we went over the
Well, how-
3,733.
okay, how close are we to the 3.7?
We're not close right now, but we don't have prices for the new well and we don't have prices for the water line, right? We gotta rebid those
But we
in
have
January.
estimates, right? Well, we
Well, they
have,
were
we have
way high.
budget.
They were way high.
I know the original one.
Oh,
but
our
do you have
budget, we're under
estimates?
budget. If you took the whole project and left it the way it is right now, we had a savings with Lyman, and Dana White's proposal was less than we had budgeted. So we are actually below budget in total right now.
But when they did the estimate for the pump and the line, it was high.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The first bids that came back for the
The
new
first
well.
bid. Well, let's talk about, and again, the pump house, the moving, not the, I guess it's the pump house treatment facility.
Yes,
Whether if rural development comes back and says, we're not gonna cover that, all right?
correct.
We're not gonna give you money for that. We still have an option not to do it,
That's correct.
all right. We thought we were not
That's
gonna
right.
do it.
We can just do it the way we originally
Or we
wanted
can go to town meeting,
Or
this coming
That's right.
town meeting and say, well, when do we have an idea, when will we know?
Joe is, I'm gonna have
Well,
Joe come
certainly we
in.
wouldn't know by this town meeting, right?
Yes, we will know by this town meeting.
And with
because we're
enough
gonna get
time that we
bids.
could prepare a warrant article and say we need the money for it? Well, probably
It'll
not.
be very close.
Yeah,
The, Joe Ducharme is going to come into your budget
all right,
meetings, and he's gonna review the entire budget with you
okay.
again. And I know it's complicated, and I
It is.
apologize for the
Yeah, I know it is.
complication.
I would like the opportunity.
No, because I really, one more time, I
No.
really would like to make an attempt to understand it,
Okay,
you know.
And the thing is, if we do
Tell Joe
understand,
we
and
won't
we
yell
do
at him this
understand, and we do
No,
understand what the cost is to move it, we could always put in a warrant article, much as we did for the
Right.
Stone property last year, which we said, we're only gonna do this if we think it's in the best interest of the town, and
We could.
Yeah.
Right, we
I mean,
could.
Approximately how much is it to move it?
I don't know.
Oh, okay,
I really
okay.
don't know. He's working on
All
those
right,
cost
because
estimates now.
Okay, I thought I
Yeah.
missed some when you said we
No.
know how much it is to move it.
No,
You're
when,
just-
she's
you're
saying when
speaking
we know how much.
figuratively.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Okay.
yeah,
But we
Good.
have to do it physically next summer, if we're
yes,
gonna do it.
yes.
Doesn't make sense to put the well in, connect it up, and then some
Well,
months later come back and move
Well, we
this.
could, but I would say then we would wanna wait years before we put in, I mean, if we were gonna wait, then don't do it within 2 years. You gotta wait 5 to 10 years.
Why?
Get some of the debt paid off on what you have.
Right.
Like, because I would think that the only reason we wouldn't move it was because it was too expensive, right? I mean, we wouldn't.
Well,
wanna
or the
pay
rural
that.
development says we're not gonna.
So, but if we did that, then I would say just put the system in the way that we originally planned it, and then come back and
Do it later.
do it later, but maybe.
Yeah, I mean, because we're doing some of this in anticipation in the effect that, the potential that the well house could flood.
Right.
And we've gone years and years and it's never flooded, right? I mean, so, and the other is to upgrade some of the treatment.
The treatment, yes.
We
Those are
don't
the
really
two.
have a water quality problem.
No, but the treatment requirements that DES, they continue to evolve, and there's more treatment requirements and testing requirements now than even when we first started this project. They want us to, DES really wants us to put this combined
I
treatment
understand that they
building. Yeah.
always want us to do
Yeah.
that, but are we required to
No,
do it?
not at this time, we're not. No. But I go back to the 482,000 for a second though, and say, that money is spent, we're not gonna change that. And I think with interest rates headed up, that this is about the best time for us to do this. Is it am I wrong, Mike, do you think?
I think you're right about interest rates. The questions I have is, every time I look at these numbers, I get completely flummoxed. My question is, we're gonna bond $482,000 now.
Correct,
We're gonna ideally finish this project off next summer.
that's correct.
So by next summer, all of our obligations will be paid off. on this? We would have paid all the contractors, all the
Yes,
engineers and everything else.
that's correct.
How much more do you think that is gonna cost? Rough figures, I'm not gonna hold you to the number.
Right now, we can do it all within the 3,733 that we're
I
authorized.
understand, but you're saying out of the 3,733,000,
733.
we've only spent 482,000 so far.
No, look
No.
at the sheet. Hold on. Look
I've
at
got the sheet here.
All right, here's the sheet. So we have spent $1 million, if you go about 2/3 of the way down, there's a total line.
Right, I got that
We
one,
have spent about $1,405,000.
Okay,
So that's what
To
earned
date.
to date means.
That's what
is
earned
we've
to date
spent.
okay, great.
However, out of that, 262,000
Right, is
is
non-recoupable.
does not count.
So the 262, we've got a bond no matter what.
Yeah, because
that's-
those are our
Okay,
costs.
now
And
okay,
we have to bond the 219 because that's our share, or we have to pay cash, one of the two.
now have we've already paid cash. I think the bond is going to replace the money we've spent, am I correct
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that?
yeah, we've paid
So
the
this
bond
money,
anticipation
yes.
notes.
So this 481
Yeah,
is gonna go back to pay off bond.
anticipation
Anticipation
notes,
notes.
that's correct.
So we are already paying debt service on this
Absolutely.
$482,000.
Yes, that is
And at
correct.
what rate are we paying debt service on these? It's a,
Like 3.5%.
it's a fluctual rate
It's a
that we have no
fluctual
control
rate,
over
that's
because
correct.
it's not, hasn't been contractually agreed to. It's like an interest-only loan
That's
where we're
correct,
just floating it like an equity line.
that's right.
So what you're proposing is we fix this 482 by going
Fix
into
it,
bond.
absolutely. Because we have to
No, no,
eventually anyway.
I've got you
Yeah.
now. So as I remember from the first phases in this,
Mhm.
I don't want to make this even more confusing. We had to spend 1,000,009 to get 1,000,005, or we had to spend 1,000,005 to get 1,000,009.
We had to spend $1,009,000 to get $1,005,000.
Okay,
And
so
the
we've
1,009,000
spent
and-
1,000,004 minus the 262.
Correct.
So we've spent a little less than 1,000,000.
Well,
Oh,
about
a
$1,000,001,
little- $1,000,001.
$1,000,001.
So we're gonna eventually spend another 800,000 out of
Correct,
our pocket
yes,
to be able to get the 1.5 million.
that's correct.
Okay, so we spend the 800,000.
Yeah.
Now, the 1.9 we spent, did we get any special dispensation on the recovery of that 1.9? Was that?
Yes, we had a year loan
Okay,
at, I forget what the exact interest rate was, it was like 2.9 or 3%.
okay. So have we already gotten that 1.9?
No, because we have
Okay.
to spend.
Oh,
the
no, no,
99.
this is what I'm trying to get
Yes.
at. So we're waiting for this one, we can rewrite all this stuff once we spend 1.9.
Yes, we
So we-
rewrite $1,000,009, absolutely.
Okay, so just,
Mhm.
let me keep, I'm on a
Yeah,
roll.
keep going, yeah.
Okay, so if we bond this 482.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be able to rewrite the whole 482, we're only gonna be able to rewrite the 219 out of this. Yes,
What do you mean
because,
rewrite?
219
well,
counts towards
the
the
1.9,
1,000,009,
right,
okay? The 262
does not, I've got,
count.
I've got that.
Okay,
My question is this.
Yeah.
That once we get to the 1.9,
yes,
does the sky open from the government and they
Yes.
give us this money at a discounted rate?
that's correct. They give
Okay,
us a
but we can
30-year
only use, are they gonna write us a check for 1.9, we can do whatever we like with?
No,
No, I'm
they're
just.
reimbursing us paying off our bond anticipation notes.
I understand, but we're taking 219 out of the bond
We
anticipation.
have to, the 219 doesn't count towards the 1.9.
The 219 does, the
It's
262 doesn't.
No, the 219,
It says town to connection and tap-in fees, it's part of the
Yes.
project, isn't it?
it is, but we were responsible, the government was not going to give us that money in the 30-year loan. That had to be money that we actually provided for the project.
I understand,
Okay.
we had to provide a certain amount before they'll give us the money.
That's
We have to
correct.
spend, what, 1.5 out of our pocket, correct?
1.9. No,
How do I explain this? You got the total project cost of the 3 million.
Right.
Right, 733. $1.9 million had to be expended using short-term borrowing,
Which is bond anticipation.
which is bond anticipation
Okay.
notes, until we got to the 1.9 million.
Right.
Then we would pay off all the bond anticipation notes with a loan from rural development
For
of
1.9 million.
For 1.9 million.
Right.
We also, before we could close on that loan and start the grant portion, okay, we had to put in from connection and tap fees and applicant the 176 and the 43, which is the 219.
So this 219 is not counting as a 1.9.
It is not.
Okay, was when I asked
So-
the question at first, I thought it was
No,
part
I'm
of the
sorry.
1.9.
I'm sorry. No. So we, once we have done two things, we have gotten to 1.9 million.
Without that
and-
219.
Without the 219, and we have paid 219, then they will give us the loan money for 30 years
Gotcha,
on the
gotcha.
1.9.
That's where I was confused,
Okay.
because when I was considering this 219 and the 262 to become the 481, you're
Yes.
creating a bond here where you're gonna have to break that bond and not have enough money to pay off the
Understood.
whole bond.
Understood.
That's where
Yes.
I was confused.
Yes, I see what
All right.
what you're talking about.
Did you
Then,
follow where my confusion came from?
Trust me, I'm unconfused about the financing
So-
of this project, but I'm not sure I want to spend the rest
No,
of the
no, I-
afternoon.
No, no,
understand.
no,
But, yeah.
I understand now. I was just thinking that
Right.
it would muddy the water. Why are we bonding this when we hit a certain number, we're gonna get reimbursed for this? But we're not getting
We're
reimbursed.
never gonna
We're
get
never gonna get
reimbursed for that
reimbursed.
484, right?
that's correct.
Yeah, I thought we
Right.
were only not gonna get reimbursed for the 262.
Now, just I have one question mark as I
Yeah.
read these. Right now, we're, of the original budget of 3.7, it got
Yeah.
up to 3.9, and we've expended so far, according to this, 1.4.
1.4.
Does the 1.4 include the 484 or not? No.
Yes, it
Yeah.
does.
It does. So
right, right here. See how this 176 is now 483?
Yeah, okay.
So the extra 262
Okay,
is
so
in there.
exactly. So right now, we're still, in order to get to the trigger point where
Yes.
they're gonna issue financing to us,
There's
we
been
still got
800,000.
1 million to go.
Oh, yeah.
800,000.
800 to a million,
Well,
yes.
no, we're only, against the grant, we've only spent 923 out of
That's correct.
1.9, so we got
That's
1 million to go.
Yes,
All right.
That is correct.
Before we get to the point where they now issue us a loan, and then all the spending after that
is grant.
is grant money in
That's
which
correct.
they just pay the bills.
That's correct.
Boy, I'm surprised that all the work we've done so far,
Bill,
we're
we-
just starting this
We are
project.
just, I know.
I thought we
Bill,
were
We got
far
two and a
along.
half, we got 2.5 million to go,
Bill,
right?
I am trying every day to spend money.
Whoa!
Yes.
No, I don't wanna hear that.
Well,
Right,
no,
no,
in
no,
the
no, I
sense
hear
of
you.
the
We got
project.
two
But
and
we
a half-
keep on
We've got
having
money-
things are in the project and things aren't out of the project and everything.
But
It's just so
we've
confusing.
got 2.5 million to go next
Yes.
summer,
Yes, those,
because that's the last year, right?
yes, we're trying. That's why we were so
What if we
disappointed.
don't hit
with-
1.9?
Mike, I don't even wanna go there, we're
Bill, no,
resigning.
no,
I'm telling you, we're not
No,
charging
I'm-
Christmas trees
I'm
anymore,
gone.
it's all over.
I'm
Our
gone.
career is done.
I'm gone if we don't spend 2 million next
Oh,
year.
you better do an
But
extra
we,
good job
but we
judging the
literally
Christmas
have a
trees.
problem looming that we've got next year to do this.
Yes. That's why we wanna
And-
get the bids back out in January so that we
Because,
know
yeah,
what the
I mean,
numbers are.
we need to make sure we stay on top. I am really, because every time we turn around with this project, somebody else says, stop, you
Yes,
can't do
I
that,
know.
you need approval for this, you need that signature. I mean, suppose the government goes on holiday tonight, something, you know, they don't sign it, God bless you. Wow.
So
Yeah.
we are, yes, we are focused, we are trying to get this project moving forward, but even like the meter pits, we thought, we have a
Right.
good contractor, every time he turns around, there's,
Right.
he's running into things slowing him down.
Now,
So-
the key on the meter pits,
Yes.
I mean, on the big ticket item coming is the cost of the new well, right? Extending
That's
the well
correct.
line.
And
That's
the
the
line.
big ticket
Yes.
item, right? The original bids were ridiculous, we turned down, right? And we want
150%.
Dana White and some of these other guys now to bid on it.
That's correct.
But if Dana's gets tied up digging around over here in Windsor Hill, he ain't gonna be able to bid on it again,
That's
right?
correct.
So what makes us think we're gonna find a contractor who
Well, Mark Johnston will be done, Lee Johnston will be done with, Mark didn't bid because he was working in
And
the
there's
National
nothing we
Forest.
can do to help Dana get more bonding authority?
No, that's based on his company. We can't help him do that.
And they're
Are we
working,
sure?
they're working on the forest thing.
Can't we go to the
under
bank and say,
restoration.
hey, bank, cut the guy a break, we like this guy?
Yeah, but then we,
Yeah,
I
but
mean, it's
then
a
we're,
whole bunch of world of hurt if something goes wrong.
well, not only that, but then we're influencing
Well,
the
no,
bid
I-
process.
Yeah,
So
that's what,
now, one thing that could happen would be that a larger company could come in and bid it and sub him.
Yeah.
You know, but that's between the companies, we can't get involved in that. Because
So,
then
and
we're
how
being-
much was the water line bid over our estimate? The one that turned down?
I believe, I don't know the exact
He said
number, but it was
150%.
150%.
All right, so it's not 150% or
Yeah.
150,000?
Yeah, it was 100, it was like 150.
50%.
No, that was the meters,
Meters.
The meters were 150%. The water line was about $100,000 over
Right.
what we had anticipated.
So it's 100,000 is a lot of, is meaningful
Right.
money, but it's not
In the-
$500,000.
That's correct.
All right, so the question is bonds.
I make a motion.
I make a yeah, I agree with
Put the
you.
bond out to bid.
Might as well put it out to bid. So
All right.
we'll make a motion, put the 484 out to bids.
Okay. And I'll bring it back to you.
Mike made the motion.
Yeah.
You want to
I'll
second it?
second.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and I'll bring it back to you the first week of January, or the
Okay.
first meeting in January.
Got it.
Jeez. Sorry. Easier.
Truth is, we really do need the water line. You're tempted to say, hey,
One of the things
forget
that
it.
we should have for town meeting is something that
Explains.
visually displays,
Well-
here's, what we've done so far, here's what's left to do, and
Right. And that's part of the conversation that I'd like to have with Joe is how you guys want us to present that.
And
And-
I think we have to have a conversation with Joe around, you have to be able to tell us what are the things that we need to stay focused on to make sure that that this whole project now moves as expeditiously as possible. Because what I've always noticed is that we seem to have a tendency to get around October before we do anything. And then we're always running into weather. I mean, it seems to me we need to be starting in May with significant work.
Yep.
And I'm not sure I understand why everything seems to slide to the second half of the year. But
Target
it
just
just
stops
seems to,
moving, we could hit it. The target keeps moving.
right.
The whole thing with the moving the.
Well,
making
you
a
see
new build,
that-
I mean,
you see, and that comes back.
We keep moving it
If we
too.
keep, if we're overly complicating it by
Mhm.
doing this thing with the treatment plant, maybe that's another reason to reconsider.
Right.
Because we really need to do is get the well in.
Right.
And the transmission line,
Yes.
All right. Any other questions on that one?
Thank you for your patience.
Noise ordinance, we talked about. Correspondence?
I do not have anything for you. I do have one
Okay.
thing for non-public session.
Right. Oh,
Do we wanna
before
talk
we
about
get
the
off
building?
of old business, and I forgot to do this, I'm sorry.
This? Yeah, go ahead.
I'd like to bring up an item. When I was looking at the CIP the other day in the planning board, and I didn't say anything in the meeting. One of the things is I was looking at the CIP estimate of the cost to repair the dam. It struck me it was back up to like $500,000. And I still struck with that I remember the meeting we had with Ray Burton.
Mhm.
Their engineers seemed to imply there was a relatively inexpensive solutions to reinforce the slope side of that dam.
Mhm.
And I don't understand why we're back up to $500,000.
Well,
And I don't expect an
No, no,
answer
no,
now,
right,
but it's,
right.
you
Okay,
know,
we'll
but I'm
talk
telling
about
you,
that
right,
then.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's
those numbers
sometimes,
though have been in the CIP. We never changed the numbers.
no,
even
but
after
I
that
don't have any
meeting.
mind to, why are we spending it? I mean, whether they're just because we're carrying numbers is one thing. I was led to believe it would not cost us anywhere near that amount of money to actually fix that dam.
I agree with you, that
Right.
is what they said.
They said,
We left that in because we have not gotten anything definitive
oh, that's
from
fine.
anybody.
Right.
And,
You answered my question.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
and I just wanna go on the record that we will do as little
Right, on
as
that,
we possibly
can on that dam,
on that
because
dam,
I'm convinced that,
because
I don't
it doesn't
believe it's a
even need
problem.
to
Right.
do the little things.
Right.
So,
Okay,
there. So DES can find that on the internet and come arrest me.
right. Okay, board concerns and directives. Privilege of the floor. Pat, anything else?
What's going on with the, concretely, what's going on with the job at Windsor Hill? It looks like it's stopped, but there's all that stuff there.
It hasn't stopped. He has stopped for the weekend, and he will come back on Monday. And I have a meeting with Dana White and Jim Mayhew on Monday to finalize, based on the weather, what he is gonna do. He still wants, he has 4 more pits in Windsor Hill to do. Try to get them done before too much frost is in the ground. Because there's a water issue in Windsor Hill, and going back there in the spring is gonna be near impossible. So he wants to get all of the work done this winter before he has to leave. So we'll know definitively on Monday what his plan is. But he should not be doing any work in there for the rest of the weekend, for the holiday.
Well, he hasn't done anything since last week.
Well, no.
Yeah, this is, you know, okay.
But he, no,
No,
he had to, it was either get guys in here for a day or two, and then the weather turned to
Yeah.
crap, and then, so he just pulled the plug and said, I'll come back on Monday. No, they are putting the meters in. The work that he is doing is the work that he needs to do. He should not have to dig anything else up again.
Okay.
He has to come back and he has to landscape everything and put it back.
No, it wasn't that, it was something, what Ray said, he doesn't have the caps. I don't
he
understand the
has-
terminology.
He has everything that he needs, is what I've been told.
Okay,
I'm not aware that he is missing anything,
okay, thank you.
but I will ask on Monday. Thank you.
Board concerns and directives.
Building committee, should I go over that?
Yeah.
We met, one day this week, or last week.
Last week.
And we decided that we'd like to, ask the town for the authority to, what is it, 200 and,
99,000.
no, it wasn't that much.
Was
No, well, I'll give you the exact number, it was, I think, $240,000 to put that with the money that has already been put aside, for the recycling center,
Okay.
to build a quality building that will have an aesthetic view. We wound up looking at all these buildings, our estimates came in incredibly high. We had a value engineering report done, which would have allowed us, for the money we had, to get a building without a roof or doors. And, one, maybe one window. So we looked at it, we think it's a good use of our resources. The bonding of this would not seriously affect the tax rate. And it's something that we think we need. And that it's a building that has a forward look to the future.
It will not look like that.
But where's the better looking picture?
I have them upstairs, Mike. I don't
Okay.
have the big foam board yet.
But this continues to incorporate what, space for all the fire engines and
This-
emergency
what-
equipment plus a room?
No. What this does is this takes all the public safety and the maintenance out of this building.
Public Works.
Public
and
Works
maintenance
maintenance.
out of this
So
building.
allows us the bay, which will house the new ambulance,
Okay,
because the old one wouldn't.
right. And is there also a plan for a sleepover space or where?
We
No,
have-
that's
well,
on phase two.
That's, well, there is a temporary,
Oh,
there's
in
money
there,
in there,
yes.
in the CIP for a
It's not
temporary
the-
space.
The
It's
facility
not
we
the
wanna
final-
build here.
It's not the final space,
Okay.
but there is.
This is not
money
the
in there.
public safety sleepover space.
Right.
Okay.
This is more of a working in a decontamination area for the town workers.
Okay,
So there's a cot and an area where they can, if they're working a long shift, they can get a few hours
okay,
sleep.
I got you, okay,
Phase 2 has all the other stuff.
okay.
So we'll have a presentation to the planning board at their December meeting, and then you will get it during the week of the
Okay.
16th. When we have it finalized.
All right,
We are slowly moving forward with that also.
okay, and with that, I think we're done. Is there any other issues?
No, I do not
We
have.
don't-
We have
Oh,
some, we're gonna go into
just a
non-public, right?
couple- Yeah, just before we go
Because
into
I do have
non-public.
some subjects that I'd like to bring up in non-public.
There's, with information
Thank you, Pat.
technology.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Paul.
A couple questions which are pseudo personnel and operational wise. Do you want to see information technology rolled up in the administration budget? Or do you want to see a separate department, or do you care?
I have no problem rolling it up in admin,
No,
whichever is easier for you.
Okay. I was thinking, the reason that I ask is I was thinking that for at least a couple of years, it would be nice to be able to see.
If you would
all of
like
the
to do that, that'd
expenses.
be
I'm-
fine.
I don't know.
Whichever you, from your perspective as town manager,
Okay.
go ahead and do it.
Cool. And for, just to clarify on the building, well, I'm gonna give you two options, right? Which is full-time person in buildings and then a part-time situation.
Right.
Okay,
We get to the budgets.
Yeah.
Right.
good. All right.
and before we go into non-public, I just wanted to let my fellow selectmen know that I am going to run for another term.
Excellent.
So,
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Okay.